Welcome all to the weekly outlook. Moon here from EWPRO. Starting off with the DXY on the daily, nothing's changed. I'm looking for this 333. We got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm looking for 3 or 5 up here for a 333, 335 before we get an A, B, C, or this may even turn motive. On the H4, nothing's changed since last week. We're still waiting for this correction. Still waiting for this correction. So I'm just waiting for a nice larger correction in here, and then we can buy. This stage, you could go down onto the lower time frames and wait for a sell setup to sell into this correction, but you're selling into correction, so it is quite dangerous. AU on the daily, nothing's really changed on this either. On the daily, I'm looking for that 333 or 335. We got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I'm looking for 3 or 5 down here before we get that A, B, C. H4 again, waiting for a retrace. This was during the week. But looking for a retrace or a correction in here. And then I can look for at least 3 down. And we don't have that. There's no buy setup either to buy into this correction. So pretty much waiting until this correction's over, which can take quite a while. Could take quite a few weeks. GY, nothing's changed. We're looking for this C down before we get an A, B, C. H4, nothing's changed since last week. We're waiting for this retracement like the other majors. They're all very similar. Waiting for this correction and look for a C down. H1, we may be getting a flat here, so we may start to get some upside. It's really on the lower time frame. If I just quickly go down to the M15, we were looking to buy this yesterday, and we did. In the group, we're looking for this breakout out of here for us at least to see up like an A, B, C, and then we get a larger flat, or it just goes from here. Well, it didn't just go from here. It's given that larger flat. So what we can do now is wait till this wave's over, and then on the lower time frames, wait for a bullish setup. And, you'd be looking for at least an A, B, C. And this may even turn motive because we're in the start of that correction. We may be in the start of that correction. So on the higher time frame, on the H4, that correction, I'd be looking to target that 50 fib in the retrace. So we may get 5 up in here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Larger correction, and then another 5 up, for the correction, and then we'll be looking for the sell. EU on the daily, we're looking for this C down. Nothing's really changed on the daily. I put these arrows on here a long time ago, like when we started to get this up, I put this whole structure on. So it's pretty much following the arrows. H4, we got the 5 up here. We got a nice impulse down. So again, like all the rest of most of the other major pairs, I'm waiting for a correction in here, and then we can look for a sell. Again, you can look for a buy into these corrections, but it's dangerous. You got to get a nice setup before you start to buying into a correction. NU, nothing's changed on here either. I haven't got the actual arrows on here, but I'm looking for a 333 or 335 complex correction. So I'm looking for either 3 down in here or 5. For 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then A, B, C. This is all on the lower time frames. Remove all that. So nothing's changed since last week. Again, we're not getting that retrace yet. We got the 5 up. with bearish divergence. Nice impulse down, just waiting for a correction, and then I can look for a sell. They're all very similar. All the majors are very similar. GY, like I've mentioned last week or the last few weeks, we got a nice impulse down in here. There is a bull hidden in here, so I won't be surprised if we get a flat in here and another one up, before we get that C down. I showed this last week, well, at least last week, last couple of weeks really, but so I'm looking at an A, a B, a C. I want to see a C wave down in here, and then we get like a W, X, Y, X2, and a Z up as a complex correction before we get that larger C down. So at this stage, you could look for this C down in here. And if you're lucky, it goes and breaks the low. But yeah, at this stage, looking at the price action, I'm just looking for a C down in here as a running or expanding flat, and then I'll be looking for a buy setup to buy for that wave Z up, and then I'll be looking for a sell setup up here somewhere. UY has gone a lot further than I thought. I'm pretty much rolling out this flat here now. There's rules that we follow with these flats, this expanding flat here. It did give us like 3 down in here, which I don't really like. I'm looking for an expanding flat, but it's starting to go too far. So I'm more interested in what I got here on the M15, 5 up. So I'm looking for a correction in here, like 1, 2, 3. We get a wave 4, and then we get a wave 5 up. So again, waiting for a correction in here. Ideally, get some sort of a bull hidden in here, and I'll look to buy that wave 5 up. At this stage, there really isn't anything on it, unless you're just scalping, unless you're just scalping in this choppy wave in here. It may have bull hidden here. No, it hasn't. So yeah, I'd be leaving it alone. I'd be more interested in a sell. But there is no sell setup on it. There just isn't. It's more, it's like if we look here, we got a bull hidden in that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a deep correction in here, or it even goes and breaks the top. So you have to be careful with the sell at this stage. Selling into that correction, the safest way is to wait for that H4 wave 4 to be complete, similar size correction as wave 2, and look for that wave 5 up. That's the safest way. CAD I've been mentioning for a while. This can go and break the top now. This top here, we're looking at that. If I just zoom out a bit more, get to the bottom of it. I was looking for that W, X, Y, X2, and a Z up to go from here. It didn't. Instead, it gave us that large correction. Come on. Doesn't want to load. Here we go. So if you've been following me for a while, we got the 5 up here. Nice impulse down. We did get 3 down in here. And now this has turned motive. I'm sort of looking for a little bit more downside in here before we get a 5th wave up, but we are getting that 5th wave up. We're getting 1, 2, 3, 4. We're getting a 5th wave up. We're starting to get bearish divergence as well. So yeah, it's pretty much complete at this stage on the H1. So you have to wait for a larger correction before you want to join again. I mean, you may get something on the lower time frames like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and you trade a fifth wave up in here on the lower time frames, but then you'd be looking for a larger correction to buy. And possibly that can go and break that top, that daily top. The Swissy, I'm still expecting more downside in here because of what's happening down here. We had a nice impulse up, and I was just looking for a correction in here and then a C up. I am still looking for a C up, but it's becoming more complex. This wave in here become very deep to this A wave, and it looks like we're getting an A, B, C flat in here. We get 5 down on the lower time frame, 3, and then another 5 down. So I'm looking for some sort of an A, B, C in here, and then get an A, B, C as a running or expanding flat before we get, more downside. H4. We still haven't got to that 100 fib yet, but very close to it. The H1, we're getting a lot of bearish divergence in here, so I'm more interested in a sell, and we may start be getting a sell set up in here. It's not ideal. It's not. It's quite a risky trade. Excuse me. But I'd be looking for a sell. And you've got to be very careful because we haven't got a really, we got all the bearish divergence, but we don't have a nice impulse down and a nice correction to sell. Instead, we've got a very small impulse down. So I'd be looking for an A, a B, and a C in here. And ideally, it turns motive for you. But yeah, at this stage, it's very risky. It's very risky indeed. But this may be the opportunity to get into the sell. That's the thing. So from the top of the market, with all that bearish divergence on the higher time frames, this may be the correction before we get a lot of downside. So you'll have to watch it, take a smaller position or whatever, and see if it goes for you. Yeah, there's no sell set up as such yet. On it, no system set up to sell. But if I get that, it may be a good opportunity to get in at the top of the market for a sell. EG, we're right at the bottom of the market on the daily. Like we had this like 1, 2, 3, 4, and a very choppy wave 5 down in this A, B, C. That's how I've been looking at it. It's been very choppy, of course, down in here. And even now, I'm still not convinced that this is the low, or this is the low. I'm looking for an A, B, and we get a C up in here. We're looking for this the other day. I actually put this on TradingView, this idea. It didn't play out. I was looking for like 1, 2, 3 down and then an A, B, C. Instead, we got a reasonably nice correction here. It's more on the M15. I was looking for it to go here with this A, B, C here, and I got into this and it come back and took me out of break even, and I didn't get another chance to get in to this C up. Now it's become extremely choppy. So, I wouldn't be, well, you can only scalp it. So we got like 1, 2, 3, and then we get some sort of a flat so we get like a W, X, Y, X2, and a Z up in here as a complex correction, and then we get more downside. So that's the structure. Unfortunately, those 5 up didn't play out like I was looking for, but if you traded it correctly, you shouldn't have taken a hit. You should have easily be able to get out at break even with this going up and breaking the top. You should be at break even at as soon as this top here is broken. So yeah, for most people, it would have been break even, or you get a few pips out of it. WTI, I've had this structure on here for a long time. Excuse me. I was looking for this A, B, C in here. We got that C up. Now I'm looking for this one down. We're starting to get that. So I'm basically looking for like an A, a B, a C flat before we get A, B, C, A, B, C before we get a larger A, B, C. So this, you definitely can trade this if it plays nicely for you. If you get the nice setups and that. I don't even like this, like this A, B, and I'm looking at a C here. I don't think this C's over. Like I've mentioned, we've got a bull hidden in here, and we get one, two, well, W, X, Y, X2, and a Z up in here, or like an ending diagonal before we get that larger A, B, C. So at this stage, I'd be looking for the buy, and you definitely can buy this, it's fitting our rules, which I can't go over here, pretty nicely. You can see you're getting some sort of a correction in here. So I'll be looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. It may just go and break that top. And then I'd be looking for a sell setup. But at this stage, I'd be looking for that buy. On Monday, you'd pretty much be looking for a correction in here to get in on. So yeah, just wait for a retrace in here or a correction and wait for your buy setup. And if you get a buy setup, you could look for the buy, look to take it. Gold is right at the top of the market on the daily. It's gone a lot further than I thought. I was just targeting these targets here for the first and the second target in that wave Z. But as you can see, the wave Z's gone a lot further, but we still do have that bearish divergence there. So I'm expecting a larger correction sooner rather than later. It's not giving us any sells. It's more buy still on the lower time frames. Looking for this to go and break the top. This was it's a larger correction than this over here, but this was pretty classical. Flat here, expanding flat. For it to go, give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. You can still look to buy this, but you'd be going right down onto the lower time frame. You pretty much have missed it because this is an A, B, C in here, and then an A, B, C. So you're looking for at least a C up. You're already in that C up. So if you're not in it already, it becomes very risky to get into it now. Even though I am looking for that top to be broken. It's, you got to be careful. You should have been in the trade around here somewhere on the lower time frames getting into it. Not waiting for a correction up here to get into it. But if you do get a small correction in here, you could look to buy. Keep your stops pretty tight though. Because you've already got the 3 up. So silver has got to our first target, and I'm looking for it to get to our second target, looking at that WXY X2 first target hit and the second target in that wave Z. Still looking for this to go up and get that target, second target. H4 sort of already got the 5 up. Got that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. We lost the bearish divergence, so this may still go here. on the lower time frames. But wherever this wave here ends, that fifth wave, I'd be looking for a larger correction than these over here. And then I'd be looking to buy up to that second target, that 161.8. On the H1, I was looking for this to go, but it never did. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, and get a fifth one up in here. It never went, so this may be the start of that larger correction. Nice impulse down, an A, a B, a C in here, a flat, and then you'd be looking for at least, well, I'd be looking for 5 down, but at least 3 down. So you may get a nice setup in here. It does look like it's setting up for a sell. I'd be looking at this in here. I mean, we're going right down onto the lower time frames. So, yeah, I'd be looking for this little correction in here to sell. But only if you get the setup. The sell setup, I mean, if I don't get the sell setup according to the rules that I teach, I won't get into it. If it just wants to come up here and break that top, well, more than likely it won't give me a sell setup. So, yeah, it's quite a risky trade at this stage, this in here. I'm really relying on this 1, 2, 3 here, and then an A, B, C before we get that A, B, C. And this is your first little correction in here to start to look for sells. And if, like I said, if it gives you that sell setup, well, you can definitely take it. Bitcoin on the daily. This is very similar to CAD, like I've mentioned before. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. I was looking for the fifth one up here to get to the targets. Never did. Instead, it gave us that very large correction. So I wouldn't be surprised if this, well, can't really say that because this is so choppy. But this was quite difficult. I was looking for it to go here. If you go back through my videos, we got that nice impulse up and this correction here. It did give us 3 up. So, again, you shouldn't have lost any money. But then it come down. And I was just sort of looking for a correction in here, for 3 down in here. But instead, it went and broke the top. Then it gave us this 3 down in here and for your buy. So this was the buy over here for this latest move. Now it's, it's very risky because we already have bearish divergence. We got all that bearish divergence, impulse down. We can get some sort of a correction in here, and A, B, C. You really, if you're looking for buys, you have to wait for at least 3 down. Yeah, it's really not much you can do with it now. I mean, you'd be looking for a buy. You'd be looking for a buy, but whether it's ready, we got this impulse here. I'd be looking for some sort of a flat here. I mean, it doesn't really look very good. Very risky because it's a very deep expanding flat. If you're looking at this as a flat, or a regular flat, sorry, because this top wasn't broken. But yeah, I don't like it. There's not much really on here at this stage to really trade. Nothing solid. S&P 500, it's right at the top of the market. We're getting all that bearish divergence on the daily. I should have just shown you that. And so pretty much I'm looking for a larger correction, some sort of an A, B, C, larger correction. I want a larger correction than these over here. And then I can start to look for buys again. Until I get that larger correction, I don't really want to be looking for buys. We have that bearish divergence on the daily, and we have it all on the M15 as well. So I'm sort of waiting for a nice impulse down and then a correction, but it hasn't given that yet. So, I mean, there's quite a few different scenarios. This can be an A, this can be a B, and we get a C down here, and then three up, like 1, 2, 3 up, and then we get the A, B, C, larger correction before we get more upside. So I am looking for sells. If you do get a sell set up, you can take it. I mean, there's all that bearish divergence, so there's no reason why you can't take it. But it's not giving very nice price action up here. It's very choppy at the top here. So you got to be very careful. I mean, if I show you the trades we were looking at yesterday, and I took this as well, it's very similar to that other one I showed you. I think it was GU. You know, looking to buy this like this for an A, B, C in here, and if you're lucky, it keeps on going. But then looking for an A, B, C as a flat before we get more upside. So, I mean, at worst, it would have come back taking out break even. This. So now I'm still looking at it as that a possible flat. I mean, this wave here probably isn't over yet. Wherever that ends, if you get a nice bullish setup, well, you could look for at least 3 up for the A, B, C. Other than that, yeah, that's what I'm looking at on this time frame on the M15. So it's really just scalping. Yeah, you're just scalping a buy right at the top of the market, which is risky in itself. But this in here, yeah, that's what we traded on Friday. AU 200. So I'm looking for this larger C down. It's very similar to S&P 500. It's starting to give a nice correction in here. If you trade this, you know, you can really look to get in on this one. It's starting to look, well, it's not the best, but this here is looking very corrective. Yep. This is clearly looking corrective. So this may be the first opportunity to get in to a nice sell. So if you do get a sell set up on here, you definitely can look for that sell. It should be a nice trade to the downside. But at this stage, there really isn't much. I'd be looking for another higher high in here, in this correction. Because it's sort of already given like 1, 2, 3 down in here after this. So I'd be looking for at least another one up to go and break that top. So you get like a W, X, Y, X2 and a Z up. And then if you got any, you know, sell set up on the lower time frames, then I'd be looking to sell. So ideally this comes up, gives us a higher high, gives you a nice sell setup, and you can look for a sell. I mean, you can even look for a sell here, but it may just be 5 down, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it gives you another one up. So if you are looking for the sell in here, you'd have to be careful because, like I just said, it may give you another one up and just 5 down in here. Or if you're lucky, it goes from here. But this correction in here to me doesn't look complete yet. So, you know, yeah. If you get any sell setups, well worth giving it a go, I think. The FTSE, I mean, this is starting to get dangerous now because, you know, we were looking for this for a buy. It still hasn't gone up and broken that top. We were looking for a larger correction, you know, and it's starting to get to that point in time for the correction. I mean, we got that really nice impulse up in here. That's why I was looking for this correction. So we got like an A, B, C in here, and I'll be looking for an A, B, C. Then if you get a bullish setup, you could definitely take it to go and break the top of the market. you're buying at the top of the market too. But yeah, it's still bullish to me. But yeah, uh, until we get this down in a nice bullish setup, well, you're pretty much staying out of it unless you get looking for a sell in here, like an A, B, C in here, or looking for 5 down in here on the lower time frames. If you're lucky, it can go. When you're at the top of the markets and you got bearish divergence, you can always look for sells, and they can go at any time. But yeah, at this stage, there really isn't much on it. Lastly, the DAX. Again, on the daily, we got all that bearish divergence. So, pretty much staying out of the buys now. There was that buy, we had that nice impulse up, gave that correction. It was very shallow correction, but that was your buy. This was a correction. I don't really like it. This can still be like a flat in here, and we get like 1, 2, 3 up, and then we get an A, B, C as a larger correction before we get like an A, B, C. And I wouldn't be surprised if this sort of does play out still, but at this stage, I'll be looking for a sell even into that C. Even if this just turns into a C, you may get lucky and it really falls over for you, but yeah, it is looking. It's a sell, but what I don't like about it is it hasn't come from a top. Here's the top here. It's gone down here and then given a lower high here. So, ideally it gives you like 1, 2, 3, A, B, C in here, some sort of a correction that you can recognize, and then you could look for at least an A, B, C for that possible flat. Yeah, and if you're lucky, like I said, that falls over for you. So I hope you enjoyed the weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.